Welcome to SWSi Floristry. My name's David Berger, and today we're going to do a wildflower floral foam wreath. Refer to our seasonal floral foam wreath for the basing technique. Here I've done the same technique with the viburnum and the eucalyptus leaf on the outer and inner ring, and a lighter scattering of the viburnum on the top of the oasis to create the domed profile that we want for our floral foam wreath. I'm now going to add some of the diandra into the wreath, following the same pattern that I've done previously, this time using a piece of the diandra foliage on the inside and the diandra flower on the outside of the wreath. The same zigzag pattern, but this time alternating between the flower and the cut foliage. This is going to give the circular pattern to our wreath and evenly distribute all the flowers around it. I'm then going to continue with some other elements. The diandra is one of our primary flowers, so that's why I'm putting this into our wildflower wreath first. So I'm going to continue to build this up in an even pattern of distribution of the diandra and the foliage. I've now distributed the diandra around the floral foam wreath. I'm now going to continue the zigzag patterning with the leucadendron. So I've made sure that I've stripped the leucadendron stems off so they can insert into the floral foam easily. And again, I'm going to place them inside and on the outside edge of the wreath, in between the placements of the diandra, just to make sure again that we achieve symmetry in our wreath design, and all the leucadendrons and other flowers are following the same pattern of placement as the greenery, which is all the tips of the flowers are facing a clockwise direction. So I'm just going to continue to do the zigzag pattern following the zigzag of the diandra. I've continued to place the leucadendrons in the same pattern to fill in the shape of the wreath, being careful to make sure that the flowers are evenly distributed from each other. And a good way to do this is to use the spacing between your fingers to see that the flowers are the same distance apart. This is going to help with the symmetry of our floral foam wreath. I'm now going to add some grevillea flowers into the wreath. Because I don't have as many of the grevillea flowers, I'm going to place these more in the center of the wreath and not so much on a zigzagged pattern. Sometimes when we only have some feature flowers, such as the grevillea, we're going to place them more in the central part of the wreath, up at the top of the profile of the dome. Normally with our grevillea we have 5 stems in the bunch. I'm still going to place them slightly on a zigzag and not exactly in a line to help achieve the pattern and movement throughout the wreath. So although they're in the center of the wreath, they're still slightly staggered, so they're not all in one solid line. I've now dispersed the grevillea flowers through the center section of the profile of the floral foam wreath, And I'm going to also add now some cerulean, or the blushing brides, and some of a transitional flower, the Strelinger, into the floral foam wreath. I'm going to make sure when I'm placing the blushing bride flowers that I place the head of the flower in an upright position so we can see into the beautiful cup-like centre of this particular flower. When we're arranging in a floral foam wreath, we need to think about the profile from the side and the inner profile so we can see that the flower is being seen from both the inside and the outside edge of the design. I've now dispersed the blushing brides through the floral foam wreath, each side of the grevillea flowers. I'm now going to add some of a transitional material, the Strelinger, throughout the wreath to bring all the primary leucadendron and diandra and the secondary blushing brides and grevillea flowers together, with the transitional material blending all the elements to form the profile of the wreath. I've now completed the floral foam wildflower wreath by adding the transitional material of Strelinger throughout the wreath to ensure that the colours taken from the inside edge to the outside edge, and we have that profile. I'm going to add a ribbon treatment to this floral foam wreath to make it suitable to be hung on a door or as a decoration. What I'm going to do is make sure that I choose an area of the wreath that has a sizable place to put this ribbon treatment that I've made. I've used some hessian and also some non-woven ribbon together, which I've placed on 220 wires. So I can insert that into the foam, making sure that I've left enough room on enough length on the wire so that the bow becomes part of the wreath. And then this could be hung on a door or as a decoration.